Good morning everybody, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Good morning. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning, and happy birthday to American actor Chris Evans. Apparently, he loves to tap dance and knows all the words to the songs in The Little Mermaid. Oh.
So Alexa, what's the time please?
It's 9:31 a.m.
Right guys, I've told you I've got this stalker or whatever it is. We've also got someone that's good with computers and disguises their phone numbers and who they are. My mum called me at 8:52 this morning, and she's told me that Charlotte has done her shopping for her, so I haven't got that to worry about. My mum's got her shopping. Charlotte's been to get my mum shopping, so she's fine. She spoke to me on the phone. She sounded quite healthy and normal. So I've got to go out to my normal day-to-day activities, knowing that there's someone out there that is stalking me. And you know they're still stalking you because I had to block someone on WhatsApp yesterday, supposed to be coming from America, Detroit. So there was a guy, when I went onto the field last night, there was a guy with earphones on his head roller skating, and this guy on WhatsApp said he was American, an American black man. So there was a black guy skating up and down where I was walking my dog. I've also got this guy that appears sometimes after my mum rings the phone, and I go out and he appears. He looks like a scarecrow. He's really skinny, and he wears what looks like a raincoat in all types of weather, even the summer, brown boots, funny coloured trousers. He looks like he's come out of a charity shop, but I mean everything. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in a nasty way, because I'm trying to describe this bloke and he doesn't need to dress like that at all. He copies me, and he's an old man and he copies me. So he walks around the streets where I walk, he wears silly hats, and he's trying to discredit me and make me look stupid. And I'm not an old man, I'm a woman. So I used to wear this lovely black hat and he's put me off wearing it because he's copying me. I mean, I used to do videos with guitars, banjos, keyboards, harmonicas, and he's copying me, and he's a bloke and he's an old man, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. He's embarrassing. He gets angry if you just question him about something. I just happened to say to him, I'm an honest person and I'm not going to lie. He said, does this sound good? I said, no it doesn't, you've got a string missing off your guitar. And he got cross. He went, what did you say? I'm just being honest. I said that, your guitar doesn't sound right. It's got a string missing. So I gather this guy's got a nasty temper. If you're left alone in a room or a flat with him, he could possibly fly off the handle and be quite violent. So when my mum rings, him and his girlfriend usually appear by the co-op in the morning around 11 o'clock-ish. So I'm trying to avoid that if at all possible. I don't know what this guy has got to do with my mum ringing, but before I knew this guy was a bit of a perv, I divulged a lot of, I thought I was going to make friends, you see. I don't know whether there were a couple of confidence tricksters or what, but they started like turning on me and being nasty, both the man and the woman. So it always involves food, taking me somewhere where there's not much food, saying that they're going to take me for a coffee and they never did, and all that kind of thing, fucking with your head. I don't want that, don't want it. And what, just a couple wanting to be friends with me just come across as weird as well. I've seen things on telly about that, couples trying to befriend somebody, and it's sick, in my opinion. So my mum's fine. I'm at home, the sun's out, but I don't travel very far at the moment. Not until I'm trying to move and start again and not make the same mistakes. So it's a lovely day today, but I am actually not really going anywhere apart from walking my dog. We've got people trying to message me. They've been blocked, so it shouldn't have even come up on my phone. If someone's been blocked, it shouldn't even tell me, but it did. Because they're just being silly. They just play games. They don't want to meet you, and they're using me for entertainment value and to get information out of me so that they can make stories from it. Because apparently my life is highly interesting, even though I don't really go out anywhere. Remember what they said, they want to stick to me like glue. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
7 candidates. I think 2 is going to work, and it did, and it happened. Credit to ITV, I thought theirs was very powerful last week. Handling 6 or 7, Andrew, I just don't see how that works for anybody.
Nor do I'm afraid. I think there's sort of cacophony, the number of different views coming in, trying to give everybody a fair amount of time. It gets political leaders of smaller parties onto the telly, but beyond that, I think it's pretty pointless.
We had one of the leaders on the radio today, Nigel Farage for Reform, was with us for about half an hour, a little over in the previous hour. Your impression of that, Andrew?
Well, first of all, congratulations. Absolutely fascinating, I think, Nick. I think what we are hearing there is the next leader of the opposition, not actually in Parliament, because there'll only be him and maybe one other compadre from Reform in Parliament, but really the leader in the country, because whatever you think of Nigel Farage, he is somebody who can speak fluently, directly to voters. He is more persuasive in many ways verbally than either Keir Starmer or Rishi Sunak or Ed Davey, for that matter. And he's a very, very powerful and potent politician. When he said to you that he could imagine himself leading some kind of new right-wing opposition, bringing together elements of the Conservative Party, not the whole Conservative Party, but elements of it, and Reform UK, you think, yeah, that does sound plausible. I think he'll be a very big force in the country over the next few years ahead, and he keeps the pressure on a Starmer government to actually deliver, as they keep saying they're going to, for working people, and deliver on immigration. So he's going to be a potent figure. But I also thought, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on. I also thought that when you were pressing him on the views of some of his candidates, like Ian Gribben, who thinks that we should have done a deal with Hitler and life would have been better if we had, that's his weak point. You ask yourself, how far can the Farage coalition, as it were, stretch? What are the limits? What are the perimeters of his actual political power? And one of them is the views of people who have, attitudes to the Second World War, attitudes to fascism, Nazism, and Hitler, which I think the vast majority of decent British people who might otherwise be tempted to vote for Reform are very, very leery of and pretty horrified about when they hear.
Really enjoyed our conversation together, Andrew. Thank you for that. Andrew Marr presents Tonight with Andrew Marr on this radio station, LBC, Monday from Thursday, 6 p.m. So tonight at 6, catch up with it then. I'm coming to you, Milo, for your conversation about Nigel Farage, but I want to pick up this Trevor Townsend. Adam, if you're still listening, and by the way, LBC is neither advocating or turning against or recommending you don't use these pouches. I'm merely reading this out. The pouches your callers just referenced are harmful as they can cause mouth ulcers. The bottom line is you have to have cold turkey from nicotine. I quit on my 40th birthday 23 years ago and I suffered for a few weeks. Pouches, vaping won't help anyone. Vape should be illegal. Inhaling a chemical cocktail into your lungs is never going to end well. So I say again, don't stop doing anything without seeking professional advice. We're just having a conversation here. Which moves on to Nigel Farage. Milo in Seven Sisters. I guess you're listening.
Yes. Hi, Nick. Lovely to speak with you. I think it's a question of what a politician's responsibility is, and I think there are three key points to this. There's one which is representing constituents fairly. There's one which is scrutinising legislation, and there's also representing the party and the national interest. And it's quite clear in the case of some of these reform candidates that they fall short definitely on the latter in terms of the comments they've made about sort of Nazi Germany and the like. And it's hard to dismiss this as a few bad apples because there are very few minimum requirements to becoming an MP. And if they're not able to live up to them, then they shouldn't be standing. And it's simply not good enough to say you're going to put an ineffective candidate in front of the electorate, because ultimately they could be stuck there for 5 years and have zero clue as to what's going on. And so if their default position is, oh, well, we'll just trot along and hope that Nigel tells us what to do, that isn't effective opposition. That's not effective scrutiny. And what we keep on seeing, and people complain about it, is that they just see MPs as voting fodder. And this kind of sort of allowing for the bad apples is a way of perpetuating that perception.
Let's roll forward a few months. Let's pick up on what Nigel Farage said and what Andrew Marr has just said as well, which is Andrew can see Nigel Farage effectively being the leader of the opposition because, in quote him, he speaks human. He might only have one colleague with him, perhaps two colleagues with him, I don't know, but he will be the voice of the opposition because the Conservatives will be so fragmented. How healthy or otherwise would that be?
I worry, because I think what we really need is, if Labour indeed does get a supermajority, as people are worried about on the right, the actual question is, how are we going to interrogate the detail? And just having somebody who's shouting slogans and has done that very effectively for the past 20 years isn't actually somebody who's going to see the snags in the legislation, because some of it, as we've noticed with, say, the Rwanda policy and, Afghan interpreters, is just getting into the weeds of sometimes legislation that might be effective but can be improved, or fundamentally wrong legislation. And so just having somebody on the soapbox isn't going to actually advance the interests either of opposition supporters or the government. And it's getting that sort of holistic view of how we can improve our political discourse more widely, and I don't think he does that.
Milo, thank you. Enjoyed that interpretation. John's in Bognor Regis. John, you're concerned about...
Right, guys, I've got to get ready to take my dog out for a walk. I listen to the radio a lot, and you can listen to it all day. I hope everybody has a great Thursday. See you later.